Hello World. I'm Robin Catling, and this is Write On. Join me in my author journey as I delve into the craft of writing, bringing you tools, tips, and lessons learned the hard way so you don't have to. The difficult second book. If the first book was a whirlwind of inspiration, then the difficult second book is like a rock band's difficult second album. Reaching a consistent standard over 3 books isn't easy, especially if it's a trilogy. With experience, you hope the second book will go better after all those lessons you learned writing the first one. But the page count stretches in front of you like the dead marshes in Tolkien's The Two Towers. Even dear J.R.R. struggled with that one. It seemed like Frodo and Sam were dragging us readers across those marshlands in real time. When the idea generates an inspired beginning and an explosive ending, the middle is often overlooked. The second volume runs the risk of sagging or dragging, or going around in circles to fill the pages. We get endless try-failed cycles without consequences or elevating the stakes. Or else a pantomime of ever-increasing stakes in a desperate attempt to maintain engagement. So often with trilogies, you get an energizing beginning and an explosive ending, but the middle is soggy or thin or missing altogether. That's why it's called second book syndrome. Also called second book slump, part 2 can lack the magic of the first book. Worse than that, it seems to exist purely as a bridge between book 1 and later volumes. Perhaps it lags a little in pacing, plot, or character development. Perhaps it's just marking time, or in essence, page count. Trilogy by default. There's such a thing as the rule of 3. Humans like things in threes. The 3-act play, the 3-course meal. 2 of a thing feels too little. 4 becomes hard work. People can easily remember and process 3 things. 3 Musketeers, 3 Blind Mice. 3 acts over 3 books in a trilogy. Obvious, no? We're mainly concerned with 3-part stories connected by a through line of plot or characters. 3 standalone books, only loosely connected, become a set, not a trilogy. So let's retain the idea of that connecting through line. Planned or unplanned. When it comes to books, there are 2 scenarios: planned trilogy and the unplanned trilogy. The issue here is 3-ness. The trilogy is such a staple of genre fiction, not to mention a money-making opportunity. It's hard to resist. The unplanned trilogy begins with a duology that someone decides should go from 2 to 3. Perhaps it's money. Perhaps it's an unresolved plotline or character thread, or just some cool idea the author had in the bath. Perhaps the fandom clamoured for more. It's easy to say, I'll make a trilogy. It's less easy to ask, is there enough story to fill 3 books, and does the author have the time, stamina, energy, or passion for 3 books? Just because you can doesn't mean you should, to misquote Jurassic Park. This is how stories get overstretched or lack a satisfying middle. Is there enough story? Recall Sanderson's 3 Ps: promises, progress, and payoff. Each book in a trilogy has to deliver on its own 3 Ps, or else it's not a complete book. It's padding. Progress and payoff have to enable the character arcs expected at each stage of a trilogy. However, the second book can't make too much progress or pay off the original series promise too soon. There has to be enough left for book 3. 3-act structure. Coaches who advise on story structure frequently reference a familiar setup. Book 1. Introduce the world, characters, and what's wrong with them. Book 2. What we're going to do to fix the world, or applied to character, how I'm going to change. Book 3. Enacting the change, answering the key question, addressing the core wound, finishing in a better place than we started. In theory, Book 2 can do a lot of heavy lifting, but not too much or there's nothing left for Book 3, where all the exciting stuff happens. The series climax has to contain the life lesson, the big reveal, the final showdown, and the positive change. So what's left for Book 2? 3 Pillars of Wisdom. Let's go back to Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of the Ring brings us Middle-earth, tons of lore, introduces all the characters, and foreshadows a trunkload of plot. The Fellowship itself founded the entire role-playing games industry with the first Dungeons & Dragons quest and Monster Bash. The Two Towers has plenty of room to expand on setting and lore. It splits the party to follow 3 separate plot lines, and we meet a stack of new characters. We have the big Western/medieval siege in Rohan, the grim fairy tale takedown of the Dark Wizard in Isengard, and an endurance travelogue on the walk to Mordor. The Return of the King brings all the threads together for the big finish, and no less than 3 endings. Much as I love this genre-founding trilogy, The Two Towers drags. A lot happens, but despite 3 plot lines, the pacing seems way off, and that's allowing for Tolkien's more pedestrian prose style. Give it to an editor today, The Two Towers would be structured very differently, and probably contain a third less pages. Homefront. My fantasy series is, surprise, a trilogy. Book 1 is a pursuit western that introduces the world and characters. It has an action climax and finishes with a positive change character arc. I could have skipped on to what is Book 3, going to the heart of Empire for the big finish, but I didn't. How do I justify Book 2? This is also a pursuit western. By returning to the home front, it broadens the world and the lore. We pick up some new characters and explore the found family trope. Introducing some new antagonists, it significantly raises the stakes for my protagonists. We get some new character flaws and dynamics. Does it need to exist? Like a lot of fiction, of course it doesn't need to exist. Does it maintain the connecting through line across 3 books? Yes. Does it earn its place in terms of plot and character development, or theme, or message? I like to think so. You'll have to decide. That's all for this time. Thanks for stopping by. You can like and subscribe to the channel, or go to robincatling.info to check out the blog.